The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated Podcast. I am your host, Mike Gasolina, and I'm joined by a guy tonight that I know would never betray me. Regzy Boo, thanks for being my friend.
I got your back, buddy. You know this.
And my confidant.
Well established. I always got your back.
That's right. I used to pick fights in college just to get you all wired up. That was my job.
Wasn't just you. Apparently, this was a game my friends used to play with me.
Yeah, we just talk a lot of crap from the corner, and when someone tried to step to us, there was Regz.
I'm not
all the time.
I'm not a mean person, but I'm very protective.
You are. But I say this tonight because I was telling you before the show that Andrea and I are watching a new show.
Yeah.
And it's not like new. It's actually, I think it's in the middle of its second season. It's new to us, and it was suggested to me by friend of this show, Adam Schaefer.
There you go.
It's called The Traders, and it's really captivated us. We are about halfway through season 1. It's like a bunch of reality TV show like stars. So there's like a dude from The Bachelor. There's a couple of girls from like Real Housewives, Below Deck. Like then there's some from Big Brother, and the game is like has similarities to Big Brother. Like I don't watch a whole lot of Big Brother, but they're the better players, the ones that come from that show. So it's got them, and then it's got like your regular everyday people, right? And the goal is to outlast the traders in the show. So there are 20 contestants, 3 traders, and the traders basically pick someone every night that dies. And then they compete in a challenge that earns them money. There's up to like $250,000 in the pot. And then the team or the group then votes on someone they believe is a traitor. At a round table, they banish someone and find out whether or not that person is a traitor. So as someone who has a dream to be on reality TV or like a game show, this is another notch in the belt, man. Like I love it. I think it's like, it's not the most exciting. It's got corny moments in it, but it's good. Like it keeps you intrigued. Like it keeps me interested. And
I just want to be the guy who comes in to do the challenges, because I've always wondered, like, I wonder how I do in that, or like the stuff on Survivor. Like I wonder how I do on that, or stuff like that. Like I've just always wondered. It'd be cool to just like be tagged in to do the challenge, and then I can go home.
I mean, listen, these challenges is interesting. There was a physical challenge in the last episode we watched, much more physical challenge. And there's been like a mix of like some sort of like theory-based challenges or intelligence-based challenges, riddles, stuff like that. There was one where they played music on like church bells, and they had to recognize the music and match it to a music box. So it was just, there's all these like different, the challenges are cool. I agree with you though. Like I'd like to know how I would do on like the Amazing Race, right? Like those types of challenges, and survive some, if I would survive some of those. So I don't know, man, it's been fun. Andrea and I always like to have one show that we're watching together, and with baseball season rolling around, it's sort of
trying
important.
To get it in.
Sort of important that I give a little time here. You know?
I have an out just because the boys like watch baseball also. So I can't get yelled at too much as long as the kids are watching with me. If I'm just sitting by myself, I kind of get the look like, can't you be doing something?
Yeah.
But if I got one or two of them with me, it helps the cause. They're watching with me. We're just watching. Right.
This is sort of like the time. And here's the thing. There are many times where, I'll tell Andrew to take the TV and I'll just watch the game on my iPad. Like I turn the volume down unless Crux announcing, in which case it's got to be on TV. But otherwise, I'm listening. So I'm trying to give a little extra time here to
Yeah.
I think we got to do at some point a draft of like either favorite reality or just favorite shows to watch when there's no baseball. Like, what do you occupy your time with when there's no
Oh
sports?
man,
Because there's this
mine's like
weird week, right, where this is happening.
And our list would be so different because I don't watch TV.
Ooh.
Like I don't put on like I guess you would call them shows still, but like I'll go on like weird YouTube deep dives. Like I was just watching like a 2001 Tiger Woods the entire last round of like a DP World Tour event the other day. Like that's what I spent. That's what I did. I watched that. And like,
I mean, yeah. So
I'd have to think hard about shows.
Yeah, shows.
But it would be an interesting list. It would be interesting dichotomy in those lists.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, what a word that is, dichotomy. I like that word. Someone used it in one of my training sessions the other day, and you just sparked it. I'm not as much of a TV guy as I once was. I think most of what I watch is sports, but because Andrea doesn't want to watch all the sports,
yeah, right.
Like we watch a lot of Phillies games and we watch every Eagles game. So I give her a little bit of reprieve when like the Eagles and Phillies are not playing, like that 2-week span.
Yeah.
And try not to watch the Sixers during that span and just kind of follow on my phone like I did tonight. And that's probably where we start. We're going to talk all three teams tonight and really not spend a lot of time here. Back from the All-Star break, we'll get to that in a moment. And they hosted the Knicks. Obviously, no Joe. Still, Melton, I don't think played.
No, I don't think so.
Covington's still out. Didn't even practice. But, Maxey put up 35. Unfortunately, the highest paid man on the team currently, like active, only put up 7 in 30 minutes tonight. And honestly, Regz, this is not going to get it done.
I think honestly I could score 7. I think I would make enough 3-pointers. Like someone would pass me open enough, feel like I can knock a few down.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's not that many. That's not a lot of points.
Not when you're getting that
kind of money. How many rebounds did he have?
He was not in double digits. I can tell you that.
That's even worse. He wasn't doing anything. That means that's even worse.
He had 4 rebounds.
Mother of God.
In 26 minutes.
Isn't he like 6'9"?
I mean, he's not small.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
He's 6'8". Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Yep.
At least do something.
He was fourth on the team tonight in minutes. Behind, obviously, Maxey played almost 40 minutes. Buddy Hield played 32. Oubre played 33. Lowry played 25 and had 11.
Everyone said he looked good from what I was seeing.
Yeah. He also had 4 rebounds.
There you go. And Lowry is what? 6'0"?
Yeah.
Maybe 6 feet tall.
Yep. KJ Martin played 21 minutes, had 6 points and 7 rebounds.
And gets paid what?
I don't know.
Minimum.
Like my weight, right. 1,000, right? Like, I don't know, man. It's incredibly frustrating. I've said it before on this show that he's the 4th best player on the court all the time. It doesn't matter who's out there. He's always the 4th best player on the court. And tonight, if you look at it from point perspective, he was the 5th best player on the court. I don't know what the plus minus is, obviously, but it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's bad.
You're paying him to be the guy when Joel's not there. Here's what I'm ultimately saying about this. It was a game they were probably going to lose. I don't know that it had to be if he did what he should do.
How many did Buddy have?
Buddy only had 14 tonight.
All right.
Wasn't his best night. He was 4 of 9 from 3, 5-15 from the field.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, I mean, and some of that could be like, just coming back from a week, right? There was videos of him shooting around. He was like the first player there today. He was there at like 2:00, just putting up threes. So obviously, look, I think, Buddy's a guy that they're going to lean on quite a bit when Joel gets back, I think, just to kind of take some of that pressure off. But I think right now, Paul Reed in 22 minutes scored 2 and had 5 rebounds. Like overall, they were just not good tonight.
Yeah.
So, they come back to back. They've got the Cavs at home tomorrow. I anticipate another loss. Fortunately, where they are in the standings right now, they still hold a 3-game lead on the Pacers. And they hold basically a 3-game lead all the way across the board at this point until you get to like the 9th seed. They hold a 7-game lead there. So, and all the word is that Joel will be back at some point in the regular season. So my guess is a couple weeks to go till playoffs just to get him. And he's not going to play a ton. It's just going to be enough to get him lubed up for the playoffs, essentially.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, it's the difference between a team like the Celtics and a team like the Sixers. Like the Celtics, even if Tatum doesn't play, let's say Tatum's out for a few weeks, like with Porzingis and Drew and Brown and White and those guys, like that team is probably still a winning team without their best player. The Sixers are not. They're just not.
No.
There's no other guy on that team. There just isn't.
I honestly haven't tracked the record, but I think they have like 2 wins since Joe
it's going to be ugly. It's not going to be good.
Yeah, they're going to limp into the playoffs.
Just avoid the play-in so you don't have to play the Celtics in round 2.
Good God. Or just because I don't want to deal with a play-in game.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, so, I don't believe they'll win that game.
Let's just do that. Let's try and do that. How about?
Yeah. So let me talk about the other thing. NBA Regz, the All-Star game. So I asked you before, and I'm sure that people out there listening are probably like, what is this even? Why are you doing this? But I just need to say it. You didn't watch any of it.
Not a bloody second.
Right. I watched the whole thing.
Yeah, you're a maniac.
And I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
There was no...
You really had nothing to do.
I didn't. Andrea had she had a meeting on Sunday night that started like in the evening. And I was like, all right, well, I'll do something to occupy my time, I was like, I'll find something on TV, I'll read. I was like, I'll put something on TV that will allow me to read. So I'm flipping through the channels, I'm like, man, I totally forgot it was even on. And then I found it. And I'm so mad I found it. And here's the thing, I have every opportunity and all the power.
Right. To just
turn it off.
Yeah, to just move on with your day.
But I couldn't turn it off. I couldn't turn it off because it was that bad of a game. Like, a lot of people say, oh, they don't play defense in NBA games. No. There's some layer of defense in NBA games because what I watched was the example, the epitome, the foundation of no defense. Like they're just out there pulling up from wherever. They're out there throwing and look, like I get like it's supposed to be entertainment, it's supposed to be fan friendly. But like there's only one sport at this point where the All-Star game is actually like a game. Like they've turned the Pro Bowl into flag football.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Right? Like hockey, I don't even know. I don't have much there.
They play 3-on-3. So they have like a bunch of different 3-on-3 teams for the hockey All-Star game.
This is what I was going to suggest, right? Like the whole NBA weekend is a disaster.
Yeah.
The dunk competition is awful. We've seen all the dunks at this point. There's nothing left to see.
Yeah.
The skills competition's actually fine. It's fine. It's not, I'm going to stop everything to watch it, but
Yeah.
it's fine. I actually did turn on the 3-point competition between Steph Curry and
That was great.
The woman from the WNBA.
Yeah,
and I feel
Sabrina
so bad.
Ionescu or something like that.
Thank you. Because that was really bad that I couldn't remember her name. She might have been the best part of the All-Star
That was fantastic,
game.
yeah.
And I don't even mean just that, because that part was fantastic itself, like you said, but the next night she was interviewed during the All-Star game, and she might have been the best part of the game. Like, her interview was really cool.
Yeah.
But so here's my thing. Change it. Like, make it something. Right. And I'm not saying make it worth home court advantage. And because I hated when Major League Baseball did that. I don't think you need to go that route. But I think it'd be cool to do, I don't know, 8, 12, like teams of 3 or 4, and do like a skills challenge that creates a pool or a tournament. And then just like on Sunday, just do a 4-on-4 or 3-on-3 tournament.
Yeah.
Like, the skills competition gets you in, and the tournament, like, you win some sort of, I don't know. They do it for charity, so like they could do charities with that too. But I'd enjoy so much more watching a 3-on-3 tournament where, like, there's some, I'm sure these dudes would go back to their roots and really enjoy, like, pick up basketball and get into it. I think they'd get into it. None of them are into this.
Yeah.
Like, none of them were into it. Luka dunked, barely got to the rim, and then tried to throw one off the glass and rejected himself. And that's when I was like, why am I still watching this? And there were 6 minutes left in the third quarter.
That's what did it for you?
I still never changed it after that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what was going on. I would have put like old Phillies games on. I would have been doing something.
I don't know, man.
You could have banged out like 9 chapters of Harry Potter with all that time.
Well, no, I did read a lot of Harry Potter.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. So I shouldn't say I was locked in.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't like, but it was on, and like I told you earlier, it was sort of like that bad accident, right? You couldn't take your eyes off of it, and then you invested 2 hours of your life, and you were like, well, I guess what's one more hour? Right. So, I hope they do something, because people have been shredding it.
Oh yeah,
all week, just all week. But they can't all be baseball.
That's right. They can't all be baseball.
They can't all be baseball. Give me that home run derby all day. All day. Give me that home run derby.
Oh, I'm just so happy.
Day.
It just makes me even more happy that I didn't watch it.
Well, you should be. And everybody else out there, you should be too. All right. Which then leads us to those fighting Phils. The first spring training game is on Saturday. We've been getting all the content from camp. It's been a lot of fun seeing the live batting practice stuff, the videos of live BP. I loved seeing like the video of live BP between Wheeler and the other day, and how there were dudes like lined up in the dugout watching.
That was awesome.
That was cool. It was also cool, the content that was rolling out of their golf tournament yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Larry Boa with the
That's
hole in one.
Apparently hitting into the group in front of him.
Yeah, did you see that video of that?
Yeah,
today?
Hilarious.
That was so fun. You heard McCarthy like saying, "Oh, we're never gonna hear the end."
Yeah,
right?
Yep.
And Marsh like, "You can hit into us anytime."
Mm-hmm.
Just a cool. I'm so glad they do something like that.
I think it's going to be its own like YouTube video. Wasn't that what it was last year?
I remember Strom did something.
It was like either a bunch of Twitter videos or like they put a full YouTube video out there.
Well, it looks like they mic'd up a bunch.
Because Marsh is definitely mic'd up for it.
Yeah.
So you got to think they're using it for something.
He was funny, beforehand talking about how, he can't play, but he's going to putt and just wait till he bangs a 50-footer and, the whole thing. It was also funny listening to Stubbs sort of talk about the teams and how you had to keep an eye on guys because they're not, I mean, we were once on the Two-Way Miss podcast talking about people who cheat in scrambles and stuff. So, yeah, a lot of fun content coming your way from the Phils and with, spring training around the corner. starting soon. It's certainly exciting.
I saw this again, random thought, sorry, but I saw like an Instagram reel that it was at a scramble, and it was like when your team is full of 4 scratch golfers, but like another team wins with a 49. It's like, what?
And the dude, they turned the camera to the dude. Yeah. He's like, I shoot a 72.
Right. Yeah.
I did see that reel, and I saw the guy who says that. They turn it to him, and he's like, to be fair, I'm the one scratch golfer on this team, but everybody else shoots in like the 80s.
Right.
Like, Regz, that's
eagling every hole.
So basically that's Banksy and 3 U's, right? Is that fair?
Oh, it's better than me. I don't shoot in the 80s that often.
Okay.
It's better than me.
So it's Banksy and maybe 3 of the guy that I'm trying to get to play with us. Like that.
Right.
Yeah. That's you're right. That's eagling almost every hole.
Which is absurd, which we know having played in scrambles with people who are very good. Like that doesn't even happen. Like there's too much randomness in golf. Like it's not.
Yeah, because like when Banksy and like you, me, and my brother-in-law played, like obviously Banksy hits a great shot every time.
Yeah.
But between the 3 of us, we at least gave another option.
Right.
There was one of us giving another option.
And every so often we'll hit it better than him.
Yeah. And because we're all capable golfers. And what would we come in? We were like 12 under.
Yeah.
So we shot 60.
Right.
I mean, come on.
That's 11 more shots. Jesus, like it's ridiculous.
That's like what the team who came in with the ridiculous score shot that day.
You'd have to hole in one every par 3. Like there's no other way to do stuff like that. Like you're not making an albatross on every hole. You're not holing out from on every hole. That doesn't happen.
No.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
It's wild. But they, the Phillies obviously enjoying their time here before
we get going.
And what I love is that they said the 2 best golfers on the team are JT Realmuto and new Philly Whit Merrifield.
That's right.
We finally got him, buddy.
We
finally got him. And I'll tell you what, man. There was a lot of uproar about Whit when he got signed.
I didn't get it.
Look, I think Jack Fritz said it really well on High Hopes. Sometimes, like, freaking close out a Baseball Reference for a minute.
Yeah.
And pull up the video. Like, stop looking at just the numbers and pull up a video. For crying out loud. Like, the dude was hitting, like, 310 for the first 4 months of the year last year.
Right.
And then he injured his groin.
Yeah.
And he wasn't the same.
For a month.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
The Phillies aren't asking him to play 162 games.
Right.
And he knows that. Like, he was funny when they asked him, and he said, I'm here to do whatever, whether it's, play left field, play second base, be a cheerleader on the bench, although I don't think that's what they signed me to do.
Yeah.
He's probably going to play like 90 to 100 games. And I think, 350 to 400 at bats, like somewhere 450 at bats, maybe. Like, I think what you brought him here to do is be the guy who hits 280 to 300. I mean, he's like top 5 in hits over the last 3 seasons. Like, what are we doing? Oh, well, he's not as good defensively as he used to be. I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
Like, he's going to play left field and second base here and there.
Yeah.
Like, you schedule his second base days for days when you're facing a really tough left-handed pitcher, and you just call that Bryson's day off.
Yeah.
You're facing a really difficult right-handed pitcher that could get Rojas. You let Marshy play center and you let Whit play left that day. What else does this do for you? Let me tell you, it doesn't rush Brandon Marsh back from knee surgery. He's a capable bench bat. If we have Whit Merrifield in the postseason last year, guess what he's doing? pinch hitting in game 6
Yeah.
or 5, whatever. Well, I can't remember what game. 7. It was game 7.
Oh yeah.
He's pinch hitting in game 7. I don't know, man. Sometimes people like they just look for something to be angry about.
I also don't know, like, what else did you want? Like, who else was out there that you were looking to get?
No one. Like,
It's like you said, the guy hit 3 something
he
for
was like hitting 307 or something. Yeah.
for 120 games or 117 games or something like that.
Mhm.
And then for the last month and a half, he was hurt and didn't hit as well.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And he was an all-star on a team that's loaded.
Yeah.
He was an all-star on a team that is George Springer, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Biggio, Bichette.
Yeah.
Like, the team is just stacked with talent.
Yeah.
And they're all-stars.
I just didn't understand the uproar for like a better bench bat. Like, again, what else are you looking for?
Yeah.
I get it. He's on the older side, but again, it's like you said, you're not asking him to play every day.
Right.
So in general, he should be healthy.
Mhm.
He should be ready to play. He gives you the ability to help in a few different places. I get it. He's not a perfect defender everywhere he goes.
Mhm.
But again, we had Kyle Schwarber in left field for a very significant part of our season last year. I bet you he runs faster than Kyle Schwarber does.
Yeah. I saw someone who was like, "Oh, yeah, you used to be a base stealer. You got caught 10 times." Okay, you looked on Baseball Reference. You saw he stole 25 bases and he got caught 10 times. But you also don't know the context in which he was trying to take a base. And you also don't know the context of who threw him out,
Yeah.
who was pitching. Like all of that matters. The situation. Like, all of it.
You look
all
at a
of it
guy
matters.
who literally has like led, I think he led the league
Oh,
in
he's won a
hits at
batting
some
title.
point. Yeah.
And
Like,
he's won a batting title. Yep.
he's been a great player.
Yeah.
At times in his
Yeah.
career. Like, you're
Yeah.
not bringing in a guy, like, no offense to Edmundo Sosa, but like, this is not Edmundo Sosa you're bringing in.
Mhm. Oh, well, I think the comparison that I've seen is, well, this is Josh 2.0. In what world
I was about to say, I don't think
are
so.
Josh Harrison and
Josh
Whit
Harrison made
Merrifield
like an
insane?
all-star game or two, right?
Maybe when he was a Pirate.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think he made maybe one. He had one really good year that I remember, like a standout year. But he was not Whit Merrifield
Yeah.
for 10 years. Like, come on. It's just like, look, and he might not be the 300 guy, but he very well could be. And there's a lot of me that's like really praying that he is. Like, because these people, and there are a few of them out there, and I'm not here to say names and stuff, but they want to be smarter than the room every time and be able to say, "Oh, I told you so."
Yeah.
And you know, when they are wrong, they won't come out and be like, "Oh, yeah, I was."
But would
wrong
you be
about
really
this."
mad to have them hit like 285?
No,
Like, that's what I mean. Like, you're like,
in that role, no,
exactly.
no, because he's, there's good pop, there's good speed. He's going to be fine playing left field at Citizens Bank Park.
And you got
Like,
to think he's a guy who's, again, I know he's on the older side, but the plus for that is that he's not probably afraid or nervous in any situation.
he's been in the postseason with the Blue Jays. I don't think he ever got there with the Royals because they were like, I think their little run ended.
It was like right
when he
before
got
that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, he's, like you said, he's a veteran who's not going to be intimidated
Yeah.
by a moment, by a pitcher. He's a professional. He played at a really good baseball college too. Like so he's played in the college world, which isn't the same as postseason baseball in the majors, but it's still a form of that. So yeah, I'm just sorry. I'm not interested in
No, yeah, I'm totally with you.
the conversation of why Whit Merrifield. Well, why the
Again,
hell not Whit Merrifield?
Who else did you want?
They just want to complain.
Yeah.
Is what it is. If they're complaining about signing Whit Merrifield 1 year, $8 million, $9 million,
Right.
I don't know how to help you.
Yep.
So, speaking of contracts and actually no, let's do this. Phillies in the top 100. Do you have a list up?
I do.
I can pull it up real quick.
Nope, I got it. I bookmarked it.
Go ahead and hit us with those guys.
Oh, with the Phillies that are in the top 100?
The Phillies that are in the top 100.
Yeah.
If you don't, I can pull it up real quick.
It's Schwarber, Wheeler, Real Muto, Harper, Turner.
Okay. So there's 5.
Yes, that's correct.
I don't remember if the Braves had 7 or 9. They had something like that. 10.
9 or 10.
Okay. I feel like it was an odd number. Like I feel like remembering like an odd number for some reason.
9. I just found it.
Okay. I do believe that one definitely, maybe 2 other Phillies got snubbed here. But one for sure got snubbed.
Yeah.
And I'd even make a case for a third. Aaron Nola.
Yeah. Why is he not
1000%
in
belongs
the top
on here.
100?
I mean, Regz, and I know why. It's because of what happened last year. Like that's one. There's no doubt that because of his home run issues last year, he got sort of the yank
Listen,
on that.
I know Yamamoto's good, but like he hasn't pitched a single pitch in the MLB.
Thank you. Here's the thing that just baffles me about this: how underappreciated Aaron Nola is. Since his debut in 2015, he's 3rd in innings pitched, 4th in strikeouts per 9 innings, 5th in walks per 9 innings, 5th in ERA, 4th in fielding independent pitching, 4th in WHIP, 4th in F4.
So far, pretty good.
Not a top 100 guy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Like, I'm sorry. That's crazy.
It is. It's ridiculous.
I'm not saying he has to be in the top 50.
Oh no, I'm not saying that either. But come on, the top 100.
If you read me 100 to 9 right now, I guarantee you Aaron Nola is more.
You just left out the number 2 pitcher on the team that went to back-to-back NLCSs.
And who collectively, baseball pundits everywhere put the Phillies in the top 5 rotations in baseball.
Yeah. So how do you have that? And this is not like an all-time list. This is right now.
Yes.
So how do you not have that guy who pitched as well as he did in the postseason in your top? We're not saying top 10, top 100.
Again, I don't have the 100 to 90 handy to me right now.
I could get it.
But I would love to know. Please pull it up. While you're doing that, let me tell you the 2 of the guys that I think could have potentially snuck on, have business being there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to stand on my mountain with Bryce and Stott.
Yes.
I think I'm sure he was in some conversations for it. I just think if you finish in the top 3 for a Gold Glove and you hit basically, I mean, dude was hitting 300 most of the year. Stole 20 plus bases, right? Like, to me, belongs on the top 100, but he wasn't on the top 10 at the position. So I guess, why would you put him on? Because you're dumb. But anyway, did you find that?
I'm looking for the 90 to
100.
Yeah.
All right. Let me give you the last guy. Jose Alvarado. Jose Alvarado has been the most dominant reliever in baseball, arguably, for 2 seasons. I know he was injured last year. He was banged up. But even when he got back, he still wasn't like his normal self and still got everybody out most of the time.
I have it now.
Let me tell you the reason why he's not on there, because he doesn't have the C next to his name.
Right.
He doesn't have the save numbers.
Yeah.
But out of pure dominance, he belongs in the top 100. I'd actually put him above Stott. Not above Nola, but above Stott. All right, you found it?
I did. 100 to 91. I'll give you
Give it to me. Yep, give it to me.
100, Ellie De La Cruz.
Yep, Aaron's definitely better than Ellie De La Cruz.
Matt McClain, infielder for the Reds. I don't even know who that is.
He's a second baseman. Yep.
Nathaniel Lowe, I mean, I've heard of him.
Yep, Aaron's better.
Tristan Casas.
Yep, Aaron's better.
Josh Naylor.
Yeah, oh my God, Aaron's a lot better.
Royce Lewis. Gabriel Moreno.
All right, I want you to stop. I'm done. And Gabby Moreno being like in the 90s.
That's kind of ridiculous. He's very good.
Yeah, he's really good.
Anyway, for those wondering, it was Cal Raleigh, Dylan Cease, Nathan Eovaldi.
Nathan Eovaldi.
91.
Nathan Eovaldi's 91?
Yeah.
Wow. Who made this list and what were they drinking?
I don't know.
Aaron
I don't even
Nola
like
is
the
not
top
on this
10.
list.
I don't like the top 10.
Well, it was funny because you had texted me the like who's in the top 10, and I think I got 7 of them right.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't put them in order. But like just naming 7 of them, I couldn't. I was like, I didn't know who was on it and who wasn't on. Back and look. So, but deservedly, the 5 that are on there belong. I do think, you've been asking for the JT shift, and you're about to get it, buddy. You're about to get a different swing.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that article. He said he's not getting rid of the leg kick, though. Just changing how he gets his hands.
Yeah, the biomechanics of his swing.
Yeah. I mean, good. Like, this is what I want to hear.
Yeah.
These are the articles I want to read.
I love that he was doing it right after the postseason.
Yeah, that he's doing something.
Yeah.
But, like, don't turn it into a stubborn asshole like it says you are in the end of the article. That, like, he just sometimes just, like, gives up on stuff because he doesn't feel like it. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, when I read that, I kind of laughed because I was like, yeah, if I was catching 130 plus games every year, I might say, all right, I gotta give somewhere, right? Like,
well, listen, I get that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know, maybe try the stuff that your hitting coach is telling you to do instead of just being like, nah, I'm good.
Well, and he is. And I think he knows, he has said it a couple of times now. Like, he tends to be more motivated, I think, than most by Middleton's speeches every spring.
Yeah.
And he was quoted saying something to the extent of like, he's done everything he can to put the best product on the field, and it's our time now to get it done.
Yeah.
So I think, he appreciates what the Phillies have done for him, and organizationally, they've done a lot for all of these guys, including number 11 on that list, Bryce Harper. He's a top 10 baseball player. I'm not sure why he's not in the top 10. I can see why Trey didn't get in based off of last year in the top 10.
Yeah.
But not putting Bryce in the top 10 is, after his last 2 years, especially his last 2 postseasons, is just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I still think when you look at the top 10, I do think he's a better player than Aaron Judge.
I don't know. Maybe I don't watch enough Aaron Judge. Number 3 is absurd.
Yeah.
He's not the third best player in baseball.
Isn't he listed higher than Ohtani?
Yes, that's absurd.
And someone said, well, it's because Ohtani can't pitch this year. I don't care.
Not. That's not a reason.
I'm going to tell you what it is. It's the jersey that he wears.
Shohei Ohtani is number 1. I get what Ronald Acuna did. I get it.
Yeah.
And if you want to interchange either of them, I'm fine. Yeah. I really don't care that much.
Yeah.
But there's no way you're putting Mookie Betts and Aaron Judge above Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, I'm in the Ronald Acuna right. He honestly, when we face the Braves, I'm just, every time he's up, I'm like,
oh, listen, again, get him out. If you have either of them, 1 or 2, that's fine.
I don't necessarily, I don't know that I feel, and maybe it's because we don't see Ohtani as much, and he would eventually be that way to us. But I don't know. When we played him 2 years ago, it felt like he struck out every time. Yeah. Like, it felt like he just. But anyway, let's talk Bryce, because it came back up, and he was asked about it. Let's be fair, he didn't bring it up, but he was asked about the extension stuff, and he made the comment of, I want that. I want to be here until I'm in my 40s. Right now, I'm signed to be here until I'm 39. And I want to play into my 40s. I don't want to play anywhere else, which I think, Regz, is a compliment that we all want to hear from Bryce. Like, it's, we want to hear him love the city. We want to hear him hear that he's happy, and I think he did follow it. This was not originally posted, and someone finally put the full comment up. So I was grateful for this. but he said, I understand that we have other priorities like Wheeler. So he said that. But he said this stuff can happen at any time. I don't know that Bryce is necessarily out there campaigning to do this right now. I think he wants it done. I don't think he's going to go into the season pouting if it's not done. And I'll be honest with you, Regz, like I'm in the, you know what? Yeah, do it camp. Like I'm in that camp. I'll explain why. I want to get your thoughts on it, and then I'll explain my reasoning as to why I'm like, yeah, extend him, give it. And I don't know that he necessarily wants the like such a bulk of years. I think he wants the money. So I'll leave the floor to you and see, what you think.
I don't disagree with you. I don't want Bryce Harper to play anywhere else either. And while he's here, I want Bryce Harper to be as happy as possible. Has he earned himself more money than he's getting paid? Yes, I think so. Do I think he deserves to get some more years with some additional money tacked on? Yes, I do. I'm upset that this became a public thing. I don't have any problem with Bryce wanting to do this. Honestly, I'm upset with how public it's gotten. I'm upset that it's the first question he gets asked about. I'm upset that our owner has to comment about it. I'm upset that every other player probably is hearing about it, and all the fans are hearing about it. Like, you could have done this behind closed doors at any time. And I'm not saying you couldn't have had a time you wanted to get it done or anything like that. You could have spoken to the owner, expressed your feelings, and you know what? The owner agrees with you. Like, no one is disagreeing with you. But the reason this is a thing is because you have 8 years left on your contract, or 7 years left on your contract. Like, making this public.
I think it's 9. I think
is it?
9.
What? Yeah. All right. Whatever it is.
Yeah, you got here in 2019.
Okay. So there you go.
Yeah.
But it's like making this public is what's wrong with it. Because now you look greedy. You look like you're backing out on your no opt-out thing. You look like you're putting yourself above the other priorities that the team has. Regardless of what you say, this is what it looks like. And now it's a thing. It didn't have to be a thing. I want Bryce here until he keels over and can't play baseball anymore. Seriously, I really do. I don't want him to wear another team's uniform the rest of the time he plays baseball. And I think the ownership agrees with that. Like, the thing is, everyone's on the same page. Making this public made you look like an ass and put this in front of your team when the thing they all should be focused on is being pissed off about how last season went down. But now this is like a thing. So I don't disagree. He deserves it. He should get it. And I don't want him to go anywhere else. I hate that this is something that has to be talked about all the time. I hate it.
I am curious as to who made it public.
Boris did.
Yeah, I'm hesitant to be because Harper doesn't look super comfortable when he's asked about it.
But you know who Scott Boras works for? Bryce Harper. If Bryce Harper told Scott Boras, shut the hell up about this.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Scott Boras is his own entity.
Bryce Harper's a different person. Bryce Harper's you don't think again, I know LeBron James and his agent are best friends, so maybe that's a bad example, but it's you don't think if Shohei went to his agent and said, I don't want you to speak about this ever again, that his agent would just be like, screw you, pal. I'm going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah, but Shohei's agent isn't Scott Boras. Scott Boras has a very specific way in which he does things. And when you sign with Scott Boras, you know what you're getting. And I agree that Bryce is a personality who dictates a lot of command, right? He holds a lot of weight with a lot of people. But there's a reason why Scott Boras still has I'm going to tell you right now. Jordan Montgomery, Blake Snell, these dudes want to be in camp right now.
Oh yeah.
They want to be
playing baseball.
Right. They are pitchers. They have a certain mindset. They have a certain routine. They want to be in camp. What is the common thread? Scott Boras. There are guys who love where they play and probably would sign extensions while they're there. Rhys Hoskins is an example of that. Alec Boehm is an example of that. Alec Boehm is the perfect candidate to sign away his arbitration and into like his first year of free agency. Who's the common theme? Scott Boras. Like, he has a way of doing things. And right or wrong or indifferent, he's going to do them his way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter to him who he's climbing.
Yeah. And I think it makes me more upset that I think you're right, that like this isn't what Bryce wants to be talking about.
Yeah, I really don't believe that.
Now this has to be a thing that Bryce has to talk about because his agent went and ran his mouth.
Yeah, I want to go back to the Bryce part of this, and I'm glad that we agree on this because Bryce, look, I don't want to make $23 million sound like it's a lot of money.
Right. It's an unbelievable amount of money.
Yes. Okay. But let me put this into perspective. In terms of his annual average salary, Bryce Harper ranks 41st in baseball.
Yeah.
If I read you some of the names making more money than him on a yearly basis.
You just start with Anthony Rendon, the list could be over.
There's literally a guy who doesn't want to play making a lot more money than Bryce Harper.
Exactly. This is why I don't disagree with it.
It's and you said it, the owner agrees. Like, the owner went to him in 2000 at the end of the NLCS and said, I'm not paying you enough. I'm not. And he said it publicly. So maybe some of this is on John. But
again, I think that was like he had just won a playoff series and all that stuff. I get it. It was a little heat of the moment. But like, listen, I just think it's being taken the very wrong way. That now, instead of it just being kind of handled in the background after we get these other things taken care of, like if it just came out that, Bryce and the Phillies worked out, they tacked on like 3 or 4 more years to the contract and they upped the annual value by this much. It came out and all Bryce Harper would have to talk about is like, I told you guys I wanted to be somewhere forever.
Sure.
And this is what this shows. I appreciate that John Middleton and the ownership saw what value I bring to this team and, our reward, like are seeing that I'm deserving of this. But like, I told you guys when I got here that I wanted to be here forever. And this is what this highlights. And this is what we work together to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Like, that's not the narrative around this now. The narrative is like, it's not a huge narrative because I think people are kind of seeing through this for like what you said. Who's the person who brought this up first?
Yeah.
It wasn't Bryce Harper. But if he's asked about it, he's going to answer the question.
Sure is, yeah.
But this is not the same narrative that it could have been. Like, now there are little questions like, ooh, is Bryce like turning back into that guy who like was kind of an asshole? You know what I mean? And kind of only cared about himself. Like, it really seemed like he had kind of turned a new leaf, right? With the family and the kids and like picking one place for a long time. Like, you didn't want opt-outs, pal. Like, so what's up with this? Why are you being like a greedy bastard? Like, that's not who he's portrayed himself as since he's gotten to Philadelphia. It's not. And it's just, I just hate that this is what this has become, because it could have been that this guy, the face of baseball who chose Philadelphia, was dead serious about never playing anywhere else. And the Phillies gave him what he deserved based on how he's been playing for us.
Yeah. And look, it might end up that way. Like, the narrative could turn.
Let's hope so.
Moment. Yeah. We talked a little bit about the agent getting in the way. And I think, when you look at the list of players that are still out there, his name's alongside of the biggest names on the list. And some of the others as well. And, one of the names on that list that I think very Phillies target right now is Jordan Montgomery. The Phillies are absolutely looking at ways to improve the rotation. He is a guy I think they would go over the third level of the tax for. He won't cost them an extra pick because he doesn't have compensatory attached to him based on a qualifying offer. He didn't get one. So, you asked me before the show, what does a deal like that look like? And I don't know because I don't know started in terms of their asking price with other teams.
I don't even know his baseball reference. I'm gonna look this up while you're talking. Sorry. Keep
going.
going.
So I'm anxious to see where he ends up and for what. And if he does end up in Philly, what do the Phillies do? Because I absolutely see a place where they just keep the roster as is and Christopher Sanchez goes to the bullpen and they just sit over the third luxury tax number. I can also see a world where they sign him and trade Taijuan Walker to a pitching hungry team like the Orioles or the Guardians, teams that are looking for an arm. Walker's contract is very feasible for a lot of teams. It's a dude who threw almost through 200 innings last year and is making $18 million over the next 3 seasons, whatever it is, per year for a starter. That you're in a good place. Like Wheeler's about to get an extension worth somewhere between 35 and 40 million.
Yeah.
Right. So what Walker gives you is not necessarily Wheeler level.
Well, yeah.
But he gives you the innings.
Right.
And sometimes teams are just looking for that. I think a team like the Orioles, who could be losing one of their better arms, could be a team right at the front of the line for him. So keep an eye on this stuff because Montgomery might fall into the Phillies' lap, and then corresponding moves are really important there. They could keep it and have depth like you wouldn't believe because you basically consider you're almost 9 deep with major league experience.
Yeah.
Because you'll have Sanchez as your 6th. Kobe Allard now is your 7th. Buchanan is in that conversation, right? Spencer Turnbull is in that conversation as well. So you're 9 deep right there with former major league experience. So keep an eye on that. Did you pull up his baseball reference?
I did. I was really I was looking at games pitched. Like I wanted to see how kind of healthy he's been. So it looks like in 2021 he got to 30. In 2022 he got to 30, 53, 64. Is that right?
There's no way.
Seems like too many.
Yeah. 64 games? No way.
It says 32 with Toronto, 21 with New York, and 11 with St. Louis. Something's weird there.
In what year?
22.
No.
Games played or pitched.
Unless he came out of the bullpen.
Maybe. I don't know.
Unless he came out of the bullpen. I'm pulling it up because I want to look at it with you.
Well, then in 2023, it's the same thing. Interesting. All right.
That's
anyway,
very interesting.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
But if you look at ERA, 2022, 3.4, 3.6, 3.11. Last year, 3.20, 3.42, 2.79.
So I got it here as...
Oh, goodness.
He threw 32 games. He started 32 games in 2022. He started 21 with the Yankees and 11 with the Cardinals.
Oh, you're right. That was a total. I put the total together. So you're right. 32.
And then he did
30 and 21, 20, and the rest were a little weird.
But. Okay. All right. Got it. Now we're on the same page.
On the same page. We're back.
We're back. We're here. Everybody's good.
I don't claim to be a baseball reference professional. So,
but look, the guy's pitched to like a 3.5 ERA every year. Something wasn't right there. Once he got out of New York, he was a totally different pitcher. He's pitched to a 3.11, 3.2. I'm sorry, a 3.11, a 3.42, and a 2.79 with 3 different in 3 different places. So, definitely an interesting guy to look at here, and I think he'd fit in really nicely with this rotation. All right, well, baseball's starting soon, and we love that for us and for everybody else. But it's also we are hitting the time of year where the football off season, football has been gone for a while. We're about to jump right back in because it is time for the combine. That is next week. I freaking love the combine.
You do.
So I'm stoked for the combine. I can't wait. I DVR.
I'd love to put a poll out there. Who DVRs the combine?
I think me and my cousin. That's
there you
it.
go.
But I go back and watch it when the Eagles draft, so I can watch the guys they drafted.
Sure.
And I keep a list of the guys I want them to draft off of their combine performance. And not long after that, Regz, free agency starts. So it's combine, and I think free agency, I think the first day of free agency is March 13th, I believe. You can start franchise tagging right now. Not something the Eagles do often. But we were going to go ahead and look at Eagles free agents. We did this immediately after they lost to the Bucks. And it was a super reactionary thing. We were like, no, yes, no, yes. So we're going to do a more thought through stay or go. And this is going to be, do I think they stay or do I think they go? Not do I want them to stay or do I want them to go?
Okay.
Thinking from the lens of the organization. So Regz is going to give me a name. We're going to kind of go, if they do leave, how do you even fill that? So.
All right.
Let's rock.
Here we go. Starting off hot. Jason Kelce.
Yeah, so I mean, this is all about retirement, right?
Yeah,
like if Jason wants to come back, he's not playing anywhere else.
Right.
That being said, Regz, if I'm Howie, the only frustration I have is how long this is taking. And look, he deserves all the time in the world. Please hear me when I say, I don't think Jason Kelce should be rushed or pushed or anything. But from a planning perspective of the offseason,
it's tough. Yeah. The longer it takes,
tough,
the harder it is.
Right? Because free agency is around the corner here. And they got to think about what they want to do in free agency and the draft. And if Jason's going to leave, they might consider a guard in free agency because the plan is Cam Jurgens. The plan was originally Isaac Seumalo, and then it was Landon Dickerson, and now it's Cam Jurgens, right?
Yeah.
There have been many plans because we've thought Jason Kelce is going to retire.
Right.
Regz, to me, I've kind of turned the corner. I think he's going to retire.
Interesting.
I don't think he's coming back. The more I hear him talk, the more I listen to him on the podcast, I think he's done. And honestly, it's probably time on both sides. Like, it's time for him to go and get healthy and be with his girls and be a television personality, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's time for the organization to they got to get out of this. They got to get out of this thing. I think they got so snake bitten by the Brian Dawkins thing. And look, Kelce was great last year. He was fantastic. But I look at a team like the Chiefs and they just put these young kids in. Like, next year's Cam Jurgens' 4th year.
Yeah.
We're almost to the end of the rookie deal here.
Right.
And we still don't know if he can play center, which is what he was drafted to do. Because he sat for a year, and then he played guard. Right? Like, we got to, at some point, decide what
we're doing.
What are we doing? What are we doing with Cam Jurgens? I'd like to see him play center.
Yeah.
Honestly. So I think it's go for Kels.
Fletch is up next.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one.
He was the best player on the defense.
Seriously.
But it's the same conversation that we just had. Like, I can see Fletch going and playing somewhere else. Not that I want him to. I could never see Jason Kelce in another uniform.
Yeah.
I think Fletch is still at a point where he would go. He's already talked about Pittsburgh. I think he goes to, I don't know if it's retirement or elsewhere, but your last 2 picks, Regz, your last 2 picks have been this position. You're moving to a more traditional 3-4-ish thing. So I don't know if Fletch is going to necessarily Jordan Davis is the nose. He's the nose.
Yeah.
he takes up 1.5 gaps. I actually think he takes a step forward in this type of a role. I think Fletch goes. I don't love that, but I think he does.
Interesting.
And I think you fill it because you have two guys you took in the first round in Milton Williams, who I think is really good. You also have oh my gosh, I'm drawing a blank on both names right now. They'll come to me. But the two guys that they've taken over, Tui Peloto, who played well sparingly last year, and Ojomo, who played well in minor moments last year, came from Texas and was really good there, has a high motor. So they're pretty deep there. I think, you bring in a veteran in free agency, like, a veteran's minimum, and that's it.
Yeah. Next one, similar vein, BG.
Yeah, I think he's back.
Yeah, he kind of called it.
Yeah, look, he might not sign right away.
Yeah.
He might be like a mid-season type of, you get him so he can come in and be the guy. But man, they need edge rushers.
Yeah.
Because right now it is Hassan Reddick. It is Sweaty. And they signed the dude from the Lions, Aquara, who played at Notre Dame. He was a 3rd-round pick, but ended up, getting cut. He was a street free agent.
And Smith, right?
And Nolan Smith. So, thank you. They're not super deep here.
Yeah.
One of Sweat and Reddick will be gone. They're not keeping both.
Yeah.
So, if Reddick comes back, Sweat's getting dealt.
Sweat's coming off a poor, not so great year also.
Right. So like, yeah, that BG needs to be back in one way or another.
Yeah.
I don't know that you move on from all three of these guys at once.
Well, yeah, sure. You would hope not.
So I think he stays.
Okay.
I think he stays. I'm not tracking these, so I have to track these.
There's a couple of these we can move pretty quickly through. Mariota is next.
Oh yeah, he's gone.
Okay.
There, but hold on. I do think they dipped their toe back in the veteran waters at quarterback. I will say that. It's just not going to be Mariota.
Yeah. DeAndre Swift is next.
This is hard, man. This is hard. This is the one where I really can I play a skip card here and we can come back to him?
Sure.
Because I have not landed on him at all.
That's fine. We'll keep it moving. Boston Scott.
He's the guy that never goes away.
That's true.
Regz, they have one dude under contract at the running back position. I mean, they have a couple on future contracts. They just signed the guy off Niners practice squad, who is like a mid-round pick from LSU, which, like, I'll tell you what, Regz, there could be something there. You know, he was kind of buried behind pretty good running back room. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But right now it's Kenny Gainwell, and that's it.
Yeah.
So every year I think Boston Scott is gone, and he ends up back on the roster. I'm going to say stay.
Okay.
But some of that also depends on what Kellen Moore thinks of him.
Yeah.
And if he can use him. I think Kellen Moore might be able to use him, especially. So
Zach Cunningham is the next one.
You know, Regz, I think if you're going to bring him back to be like your fourth linebacker, fifth linebacker, fine.
Do we even have four other linebackers?
I mean, they're going to have to do it.
Well, yeah, I know.
To run Vic's defense, like I've seen a lot of reports where they've said how he's going to use resources. Look, I'm cool bringing Zach Cunningham back in a role that he didn't play this year. He cannot be your number 2 behind Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
That can't happen.
Yeah.
So for fun, I'm gonna put, like, if I was putting a number on it, 1 to 10, 10 being he's staying 100%, I'm putting like a 6 here.
Okay. Justin Evans.
He's not staying. He's going.
All right. Shaq Leonard.
That dude's locker was packed so fast. He's gone.
Sua Opeta.
This is one that I think, offensive line is not an area of depth anymore. When you think about it, especially if Kelsey goes, what's your offensive line room?
Yeah.
Because Driscoll's a free agent too. So you've got Mailata and LJ. You've got Juergens, Steen, Dickerson. I mean, there are some other guys that like Toll, is that his name? Is still there. But they don't, it's not, they're pretty barren, which is unusual for them.
Yeah.
Opeta played some, important snaps, but I think this comes down to whether or not they believe that Steen can be a guy they can use as depth.
Yeah.
If they think he can take the next step next year, he struggled a little bit when he played this year. Opeta played more. So I'm going to say he stays. But again, if I'm putting a number on it, I'm not as confident as I am like with a guy like BG.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put a stay, but I'm putting a number on it like 4 or 5.
Okay. Rashad Penny.
Yeah, bye.
Olamide Zaccheaus.
Hold on. Before we move, they're going to need 2 running backs.
Yeah.
Because they like to have 4. So whether they bring Boston Scott back, right, and he ends up on the practice squad for most of the year, they'll draft one.
Yeah.
But this is a really deep free agency running back class, and there'll be some cap casualties too. They need a veteran running back. I could see Tony Pollard. I don't love the Cowboy, Giant, Redskin, Commander guys that come over because they end up sucking for the Eagles. But I could see Pollard being a guy because he played really well for Kellen Moore. Barkley's probably going to be a little bit out of their price range.
You would think.
Derrick Henry, though, intrigues me because I don't think he's going to get paid as much as what people.
Yeah.
So he could fall into their lap. And hear me out on this one. He's not listed because he's not a free agent yet. But he's on a team where he could be a cap casualty because he could save them money. Alvin Kamara. He's
getting hurt a lot, but he's like incredible when he's on the field.
Yeah, but if you put him in a running back room where he's not the guy, the bell cow.
Right. He was getting crunched like a lot of the times in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Like he was their only offensive weapon.
And they don't have an offensive line there.
Yeah.
So you put him in a situation where he's not taking a bulk of the carries. I think there's potential for that. He's a cap casualty possibility, and he'd have to play on a smaller deal, and that's sort of where the Eagles have been living in. They've been living in the world of trades and 1-year free agents. So, okay, you can move on.
It was Olamide. Zaccheaus was next.
Regz, I would love to have him. I think he was, unfortunately, the victim of poor play calling and scheming. They just didn't use their third receiver. Kellen Moore does. If he could be convinced to come back in the same role, I would love to have him back. Unfortunately, I think he'll get a nice offer somewhere where he's not going to be a number 3. The Eagles need to do something about that spot because, again, this is a position where they have 0 depth. On the roster right now, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Britton Covey. That's your receiver room.
Yeah.
Again, some future contracts and guys on the practice squad. They're going to need to figure out receiver. So if they can bring back Olamide, but I think he goes, unfortunately.
Okay. Nicholas Moreau.
Bye.
Albert Oku.
They brought him back.
Okay.
They brought him back.
There you go.
today.
So that's easy.
Yeah, and that's a position again, no depth.
Yeah.
They have no depth there.
Yeah,
It is Goddard and Calcaterra. So Alberto is always coming back.
Braden Mann.
I think he stays.
I would hope so. What was wrong? He did as well as I could hope.
Yeah.
Not a punting expert, but like he was much better than what we had.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jack Driscoll.
I think he goes. I don't think he was ever what they thought he would be.
Yeah.
So I think he goes.
Sean Bradley.
Yeah. Stay because again they need linebackers. He's a nice depth piece. He's a really good special teamer. Yeah, I don't think coming off of an injury, I don't see him getting a good offer anywhere else. Stay.
Okay. Quez Watkins.
Bye.
Thank God. Jack Stoles, last one.
Yeah, I think he goes. I think the Albert O is sort of writing on the wall there. They're not going to carry more than 4 tight ends, 5 practice squad. Like they still have Tyree Jackson, Albert O. They have I can't pronounce his name. Toai, I think his name is Goddard and Calcaterra, and they'll draft one. So I think Jack Stoll was good for what he was. He was a wide tight end, more so than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But you can find another guy like that somewhere. Going back to Swifty, I think he gets a deal somewhere else. He's one of the younger backs on the market, had 1,000 yards last year.
Yeah.
So, he's got tread on the tires. And I think somebody pays him for that. My only drawback to that, and he's going to be my wild card. I hold the right, like sort of like we do when we predict, to take it back. And here's why. Not the hometown discount thing, nothing like that. But Miles Sanders might have ruined any running back's hope for big contracts coming from the Eagles. Because Miles got that huge deal and sucked in Carolina. Sucked. He got benched, like didn't play at all. So that could kill DeAndre Swift in free agency. So that's where we're at, man.
There you go.
We got a lot more goes than stays. Here are the guys I have staying. BG, Cunningham, Boston Scott, potentially Swifty, Opeta, Alberto is kind of cheating, but give it to me. And I think that's it. Oh, and Sean Bradley.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, another good one for the boys.
We're getting good at this, man. We're getting good at this.
Another good one for the boys. Look, man, I don't know that I have much in terms of, fixated. I think I just need baseball. You're much faster.
I have something small. If you'll indulge me.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna mute myself.
You don't have to mute yourself. It's very tiny, but this speaks to Azzy, the book writer and motivational speaker guy. I don't need to go into too many specifics. I can tell you after we're done recording, but I yesterday achieved a very large life goal. Work related, but it was something I've been thinking about achieving since I became a person in the workforce. So to me, that started when I was 21 years old working at CVS because nobody was hiring marketing people in 2009 with my good old business degree from Elizabethtown College. So it took me a while to finally find like a real job, an office job like I wanted, that I didn't have to work weekends and deal with crazy people and nights and things like that. And that parlayed into like getting laid off by one company and, right when I was about to have my first kid and trying to figure out a job and being a contractor for a year and having my son and then going back to work 2 days later because I have a son now and I can't not get paid. I kind of need the money. And, into being at that company for almost 7 years and now at this new company and finally achieving this goal. So I am now 36, right now. So that's a good 15 years later, 3 kids later, 2 houses, all the other things that come with life. But it was, I took a moment yesterday after I finished recording with our buddy Banksy, our golf podcast, to just kind of sit in this chair right here. I sat back, I had a sip of my beer, and I allowed myself to be proud of myself for a few minutes. And it was good. And it's something that I think more people probably can sit down and do every so often.
Beautifully said, man. Beautifully said. I think, that story, I think a lot of people would resonate with this idea of we don't take enough time to be proud of what we do and what we accomplish. And I say it often when I do public speak, and I'll say it tomorrow. I'm speaking to 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders at a middle school about 2 hours from here. And I say it to adults. The voice we hear the most is our own. And we are not very kind to ourselves. So I'm glad you took a minute to pat yourself on the back and be proud of yourself and who you are and what you've accomplished, because there are probably a lot of people, including myself, around you who are proud of you, and they tell you, and sometimes you don't necessarily take it in. I'm guilty of that, and it's mostly because you're just a humble guy, but good for you celebrating yourself. And I hope those of you listening take that message to heart and, take a second to be proud of something that you accomplished. You motivated me, man. I think I'm going to do a little video tomorrow.
There you go.
Just telling them, whatever, just be proud of yourself today. It's a Friday.
Because you're right. I am that way. Most of my life is lived out of, not most of my life, but when I truly think about most things, it's like, don't fuck it up. You have a house, you have a wife, you have children. Like, do what you got to do to not fuck it up.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people that you're responsible for.
Yeah.
But it was nice to just kind of be like, I've been thinking about that for 15 years and it finally happened.
Well, good for you, man. Proud of you.
Thanks,
Proud
buddy.
of you. And I know the people listening are too, because they love you just as much as I do, big guy.
Maybe love you right back, all you people out there.
But they don't love you as much as I do.
No, they don't. You're right.
So here's the plan, y'all. We are going to be back next Thursday. I come back from Kansas on Thursday. So we will be recording on Thursday evening for your weekly edition of the Phixated Podcast. Super excited, Regz. That's like 2 days before my birthday.
There you go, man.
But I think, we'll be a week into spring training.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait.
One thing we're going to do, I'll put it up on Sunday when I get to Kansas. We're going to ask you for questions about the Phillies season.
Yeah.
A little mailbag. So make sure that you send us your questions. We will answer all of them here on the show next week. Before the season starts, the season starts March 28th, I believe. We have like 4 more shows before then. Our goal is to have Brian Doc Hamilton back on to talk a little bit about baseball in the Phillies organization. Our goal is to have a really bold take edition of the show. And our other goal is to have one of our season preview special guests on. We've had Jack Fritz of High Hopes and WIP. We've had Alex Colby of the Fire. We have an idea.
We do.
Just hang with us.
We have an idea.
Just hang with us. Maybe a former Philly shortstop.
You'll see the Twitter video soon enough.
Maybe a former Philly shortstop.
I don't know.
I don't know. All right, everybody. We will be back on Thursday. In the meantime, make sure you click subscribe on the YouTube channel below. Make sure that you follow us wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to rate it there too. Follow us on Instagram at B&B Podcast. Same on Twitter. At the Phixated Podcast on Twitter. At the Mic Drop 5 on Twitter. At Big Regz with a Z on Twitter. And the Phixated fan page on Facebook. Click the merchandise link in the show description below. We look forward to talking with you next week. Until then, be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Be proud of something you did this week, you son of a bees. We love each and every one of you. We'll talk to you later. What do you say, Stocks?
And go Phils.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here.
The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.